Howdy, howdy, hey, y'all, and let's chat Instagram today. So if Instagram keeps pushing your content to the wrong country and you're sitting there wondering why the hell your page keeps getting shown to people who are not actually your target audience, we need to talk because this happens to a lot more people than you think. A lot of creators end up in this spot where their reach starts drifting somewhere they did not intend for it to go. And then they start panicking, trying random fixes, changing everything all at once. And honestly, to be real, that's usually just going to make the whole situation messier. So if you've been asking yourself, how in the hell do I get my content pushed more towards the United States or more towards English speaking audience, the largest consumer of adult content, then this is what we need to actually start paying attention to. This question comes up constantly, and more often than not, it is creators who are outside the US who already know that, well, the United States is where they want their content landing because that is the audience they're trying to reach because the US is the biggest consumer of online adult content. But even if you are not outside of the country, your traffic can still drift. Your content can still start getting shown somewhere that is not ideal for your business, not ideal for your conversion, and not really aligned with who you are trying to get in front of. So the first thing I want to say is just do not just automatically assume that this means your account is broken. It usually means that Instagram is taking signals and it has learned from a pattern from your account, and now it's continuing to feed that same pattern back to you. And to be clear and to be upfront, this is a resource that has come to fruition because I have a mentee I am working with who is not in the US, who is trying to restart their Instagram account and get it going to the right audience. And all of this information that I'm pulling is coming from our interview with Ona Artist on the Creator Spicy Tea podcast a while back ago, which I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to play that one here really quick and then we're going to break it on down. Somebody had mentioned that their content was being pushed to a demographic that they did not intend for it to be pushed to. So have you had that happen to you, and how do you switch that up so your content is pushed to the correct demographic?
So a few things here. So I always love going live with I'm just going to assume that the goal is sort of English speaking, OnlyFans by audience.
That is usually the push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I like doing is suggesting, and I think has helped people, is going live with on Instagram, going live with other models who are who speak English, who have have a majority a majority US audience or other English speaking audience. So really targeting that kind of people. Also trading, you can SFS, you can trade in story with people who really, again, both that they're speaking English, but also you can ask for their insights and ask what their top country is. And I personally always judge it just by being the top country. Some people talk specific percentages. I think that's really overblown. I don't think that matters at all. I just think you do want ideally US to be the largest percentage or near largest, ideally largest. So that's one thing. Some people will go in and actually remove followers who seem like they're from countries that can't buy OnlyFans. In a way, it's like kind of like just do like the general good practice. Like also another thing you could do is you could try speaking more if you maybe don't speak at all on your videos. So if you were to speak, and again, speaking English, that should push it to an English audience.
If somebody is not understanding you, they're not going to continue to watch you.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, y'all. Did I remember to put it in here. Pray for me that I did. But let's go in depth on this. The first big thing, which actually controls what country sees you in the first place. One of the biggest pieces of this is who engages with you first. That early engagement really matters a lot. If your content starts getting picked up by mostly non-US viewers, Instagram is going to keep finding more people like those non-US viewers. It's basically looking at who's engaging, what kind of activity is happening, and then it keeps feeding your content into similar places because those are the people that already are likely to respond. So if your early engagers are international and non where you want them to go, the platform and the algorithm can keep you stuck in that loop for quite a while. The next thing is your content localization signals, which is just a really fancy ass way of saying what your post implies about who it's for. That can be anything from the language you use to your app settings, to your captions, to your on-screen text, to your keywords, your hashtags, your audio choice, all that shit. Those things all help Instagram figure out what your content is and who it should be tested on. So if your content is giving mixed signals, or if those signals are leaning more heavily outside of US or English speaking audiences, then you should not be shocked when your reach does the same thing. And then on top of that, your existing follower geography matters too. If your current audience is already heavily international, Instagram's going to keep sampling there because that is the highest probability of an engagement pool that it already knows. And honestly, this is kind of why people tend to get stuck. That is really the word for it. They get stuck. It's just kind of like a pit. There can be a ton of reasons for it. Nobody knows every single reason definitively. So do not let somebody online convince you they have some magical one-size-fits-all explanation, which is not what this is. But there are a few common potential fixes. One, you may have used a broad hashtag set that skewed global, or you used a sound that's trending outside the US, or your content is super visual and has very little spoken language, so it travels easily across countries and dialects and languages because there's not much anchoring it to that specific audience. Or the people currently engaging with you are mostly international, so your distribution keeps going there over and over and over again. And maybe you had a post pop the fuck off in a specific country, and now your account is associated with that cluster, so Instagram keeps routing you back into that same kind of audience. That can all absolutely happen, and that can all get you stuck. So if that is what's going on, how do you start shifting it? The biggest thing here, and honestly one of the fastest ways to do it, is to deliberately plug your account into creators who already have the audience you want. If you want a mostly US, mostly English-speaking audience, you need stronger engagement signals coming from those people. That means you want your content and your profile getting in front of creators and being pushed by creators whose audience already matches that. Because if the right people start engaging with you first, that gives Instagram a much stronger signal about where to keep testing your content next. And this is why, according to Ona, going live with other creators can help so much. She says she always has loved this strategy because lives create a shared discovery moment. You're getting in front of their viewers in real time. And if those viewers are the right audience, that matters. So if your goal is a sort of English-speaking, US-heavy audience, then go live with other creators who speak English on camera and whose top country is the US, or at least a top country. And yes, I would absolutely follow her advice and ask for the insights. Ask what the top country is. Ask who their audience is. Do not just assume because somebody speaks English that their audience lines up with your goal. You want to be more intentional than that. And I would not overcomplicate this by guessing over percentages like Ona said. She fully believes that that is overblown. And you know what? I agree with her. I do not think you need to spiral over whether their audience is an exact split this way or an exact percentage that way. That's excessive. I think what matters is that the United States or your goal country is a top country or near the top. That is the bigger picture. So maybe pick 5, 10 creators like that. People who already speak English on camera, people whose audience lines up with where you're trying to go, and start collaborating. Start scheduling lives with them during US or your goal country prime times. And when you're on those lives, speak. This matters. If you do not usually speak on your content, this is one of those times where speaking can really help because language is a signal. If people do not understand you, they're not going to keep watching you. They're going to swipe away. So yes, you want more English speaking traffic, so speak more in English. That does not mean you need to become a totally different person or completely change your style. No, it just means you need to understand that spoken language gives the platform and the viewer more context and it anchors your content better within the algorithm. And while you're live, use really simple calls to action that create the kind of comments you actually want more of. Something like asking people, what state are you from? Right? That's a perfect example because now you are not just passively hoping the right audience shows up. You're actively encouraging the US or goal country based comments. And then you respond to those comments. So the whole live starts becoming more and more US or goal country heavy. This is the kind of thing that can help retrain where your content gets tested. The next thing to look at is maybe story swaps and shout out for shout outs. Same general concept, right? Just in a different format. If you already found creators with that US heavy audience, use them for shout out too. Do story trades, trade shout outs, get profile taps, story clicks, and follows coming from US accounts because those signals can help retrain your audience cluster faster. Don't make these shout outs generic and lazy. Make it specific, make it conversion oriented. If somebody likes your niche, say that, right? Tell them why they should like that person's page. Give the viewers a reason to click. Something simple or direct works way better than some vague repost with little to no context. And even in those story swaps, think about the text you are using. Keep the hook coded towards the audience you are actually trying to reach, y'all. English captions matter. English references matter. The way you phrase things matters. Again, this is not about playing dress up or forcing some fake persona that you are not. It's not. It's about making it easier for the platform to understand where your content belongs and who it should be testing it on. A lot of this is just being more deliberate with the signals you are already sending out. Now, the optional part, and I mean optional, okay, is removing low quality followers carefully, okay? Some creators will go through and remove followers who look like they're coming from countries that are unlikely to convert for their business. This is because they do not want those wrong audience engagement signals to continue to pile up. But, okay? Hear me. If you're going to do that, do it safely and do not be crazy with it. Small batches, small, teeny, handfuls, not thousands. Prioritize the obvious bots, empty accounts, spammy followers, the stuff that clearly looks low quality, right? General good practice still applies here. You do not want to go on some huge follower purge and then create a different problem for yourself, right? And again, I would not obsess over exact percentages here either. I really would not. The goal is not to sit there and micromanage every decimal point in your audience breakdown. That would be fucking exhausting. No, the goal is to make the United States or your goal country your top country over time, or at least move it into a stronger position over time. That is a much healthier way to look at this. So, if I had to simplify all of this down, I would just say this. If your content is being pushed to the wrong demographic, look at who engages first. Look at what signals your content is sending and look at who is already following you. Then start deliberately feeding your content and your account better signals. Go live with creators who already have the audience you want. Make sure they speak English if that is the audience you want and are trying to reach. Ask for their insights. Don't overthink this perfect percentage and focus instead on whether the US is just showing up as a top country. Speak more in your content and your lives. Use simple calls to action that invite the right people to comment. Do story swaps and shout out for shout out with creators whose audiences actually aligns with yours. And if you clean up your followers by removing potentially low quality followers, do it slowly and with common sense, please. Because the truth is, if somebody is not understanding you, they're probably not going to continue to watch you. If the wrong people are the first ones engaging with you, Instagram is going to keep finding more people like them. And if your current audience is already weighted in a direction you do not want, you have to be intentional about retraining that. It's not overnight and it's not fueled by panic. And it's not by changing every single thing at once, but by giving consistent, better signals for the platform and the algorithm to work with. If your reach has drifted into the ether of some country that you do not want, you're not doomed, but you do need to stop being passive about it. You need to actually look at what your account is being pushed for. You need to look at the signals that are coming out, and then you need to start retraining that algorithm. Okay, this was chaotic and long, but I hope it might have helped anybody like my mentee who I have been working with and I love with my whole heart. Love you, girl. Maybe retrain their Instagram algorithm to find the audience that they are looking for. Thank you for sitting down with me. I hope you are all so safe. I hope you are all so sane, and I hope you are thriving.